All right, good evening, everyone. Um, we are back here today. Remember that in my previous video, I made you a promise that we are going to be solving problems that involve the special angles. In our last video, we were able to do the derivation of these special angles, where we were able to derive the values of 45 angle 45 degrees, angle 30 degrees, and angle 60 degrees without the use of calculator. I was able to teach you how we can apply these values without using calculator, right? And these are the values. Now today we'll be focusing on how we can use these values to solve any trigonometric related problems involving special angles. So let's look at this question here. This question here is a trigonometric problem involving a special angle here. We'll have tan 60 degrees, we'll have tan 30 degrees, and we'll have tan 30 degrees and tan 60 degrees. Now the question says 1 plus tan 60 degrees tan 30 degrees divided by tan 60 degrees plus tan 30 degrees. Now how do we tackle this problem? It is very easy for us to tackle it having understood all the values of every special angle we have here. Remember, we have tan 60 degrees. We already know the value of tan 60 degrees, so we can easily substitute the value without using our calculator. We already know the value of tan 30 degrees, so we can easily substitute the value. Is that okay? Now, basically, another thing that we need to observe is the settings of the question. The question says 1 plus tan 60 degrees tan 30 degrees. So when you see tan 60 degrees tan 30 degrees, it simply means that tan 60 degrees is multiplying the tan 30 degrees. That is what it means. All right, so what we need to do now is for us to substitute these values. Now, by substituting these values, first of all, we have 1 here. Take note. So we write our 1 solution. We have our 1 plus tan 60 degrees. Now we go back to our derivation. What is the value of tan 60 degrees? Sod of 3. So sod of 3 is the value of tan 60. So I'm going to substitute sod of 3 for tan 60 degrees. So I'll just write sod 3. So having written sod 3 right here, I will also consider the tan of 30 degrees because the tan 60 degrees is multiplying tan 30 degrees. So I'll go back to my derived value. What is tan 30 degrees? Tan 30 degrees is sod 3 divided by 3. So I will substitute it, put it in a bracket, and I would write sod 3 divided by 3, representing the tan of 30 degrees. So it's very simple. We've been able to take the first step at the numerator part. We consider the denominator part. So just follow me sequentially. Now at the denominator part, we have tan 60 degrees again. And we already know that tan 60 degrees is what? Sod of 3. So we have sod of 3 plus tan 30 degrees. We already know the value of tan 30 degrees. That tan 30 degrees is what? Sod 3 over 3 by derivation. So we have sod 3 over 3. So what we are going to do right here is that we are going to just solve this. First of all, we deal with the numerator part, and then we deal with the what? The denominator part. So just follow me and observe my step. Okay? So from the numerator part, we first of all have 1. So we write our 1 plus sod of 3, meaning that we are going to use this sod of 3 to multiply this, what we have in this bracket, which is sod of 3 over 3. So sod of 3 multiplied by sod of 3, of course, sod of 3 times sod of 3 will definitely give you sod of 9, or square root of 9. And square root of 9 is what? Is 3. So we can write 3. Okay? In mathematics generally, whenever you see sod of 3 times sod of 3, something of this nature, just know that it's 3. Sod of 2 times sod of 2, just know that it's 2. Alright? So sod of 3 times sod of 3 is 3. So we've written it. Now, divided by this denominator here, which is what? Which is 3. Okay, all divided by the denominator we have here, and the denominator that we have here is a fraction, so we still bring out this sort of 3 here, sort of 3 plus this, which is what, sort of 3 all over 3. I don't know whether it's clear. Divided by, you know that this has an invisible one here. I can as well say sort of 3 divided by 1. Now, let's look at the numerator part, because remember, we are taking this gradually by gradually. First of all, we would deal with the numerator part, and secondly, we deal with the denominator part. So when you look at the numerator part here, is a fraction, right? But there is something that I'm finding out there. I'm actually finding out that 3 can divide 3. If this 3 divide this 3 here, it becomes 1. So at the numerator part, we can have 3 divide 3, it is 1, right? So we can have 1 plus 1 at the numerator part. And 1 plus 1 is, of course, 2. So that means the numerator part here, we can have 2. I don't know whether it's clear. So that's the numerator part for you. We've dealt with it. Now, divided by, let's look at the denominator part. You know, the denominator part of this fraction, it is 2 fractions adding each other, and we can as well apply the LCM of the denominators. And what are the denominators? We have 1 and 3. The LCM of 1 and 3 will give you 3. So you simply write your 3 and rule a line. If 1 divide 3, it will give you 3. That 3 multiply sort 3 will give you 3 sort 3. So we have 3 sort of 3. We take the same process. This 3 divides this 3 here, we give you 1. Now that 1 multiplies sort 3 will give you sort of 3. So we have plus sort of 3. Let me take the process again in case you are a bit confused. If 1 divide 3, it will give you 3. 3 times sort of 3 will give you 3 sort 3. If 3 divides 3, you get 1. 1 times sort of 3 will give you sort of 3. So that is basically what we meant. So that is it, but we are not done yet. I don't know, I can clean here right now to continue from there. Now, by clearly looking at the numerator part, you already know that we've gotten the value of numerator as 2 after solving. But this denominator part, we can further solve it. So let me just bring it up here. So we'll have 2 divided by, we'll have 3 sort of 3 plus sort of 3 divided by 3. Now, where the problem still lies a bit is the denominator part. Now, at the denominator part, we are having a surd problem. We are having a surdical problem. Now, this particular problem we have here is very simple if you understand the basic operation in surds. Because at the numerator part here, we are having 2 surds that are in what? They are in the same basic form. They have the same basic form. Can call it similar basic form. This is in surd. You know that this is just like saying 1 surd 3. So surd 3 is just like saying 1 surd 3. In fact, let me put it that way. 1 surd 3. 1 surd 3 is the same thing as saying surd 3. Just the same thing. So if we have 1 surd 3 here and we have 3 surd 3 here, they can add each other because they have the same basic form, surd 3 and surd 3. So when we add them together, 3 surd 3 plus 1 surd 3 will give you 4 surd 3. So we have 4 surd 3 divided by this surd 3 here. So put it out, we have 2 all over 4 surd of 3 divided by 3 here. Okay. So we are coming up. This simply means, if I should put this in a more understandable way, the numerator here will have 2 divided by the denominator here, which is what? 4 sort of 3 all over 3. And you know the law that follows division while we divide. So mathematically, when you are dividing a fraction, you know the law that follows division of fraction, we reciprocate the value. This comes up and this comes down. So we're going to apply that here. So when we are having 2D, just like saying 2 over 1 cross divided. So when we are cross dividing, we reciprocate this value. This comes up and this comes down. So we have 3 divided by what? By 4 sort of 3. Okay, so we are coming up a bit. Now at this point we can multiply out. Okay, so by multiplying out the numerator part, 2 times 3 will give you 6. So write 6. At the denominator part, we have 1 times 4 sort 3 will still give you 4 sort of 3. So we have 4 sort of 3. But in mathematics, we can't just leave this like this, because if you can notice, at the denominator part, we are having an irrational number. This sort here is an irrational number. So what we have to do is for us to rationalize. So if you have that experience of sort, you will know that rationalizing is very, very necessary when you have a fraction with an irrational denominator. So how do we rationalize? We rationalize by multiplying both numerator and the denominator by the value of the denominator. And the value of the denominator we have here is 4 sort of 3. So we are going to multiply both the numerator, that is up here, with 4 sort of 3, and the denominator with what? 4 sort of 3. So that operation has been carried out. So all we just simply need to do now is for us to multiply out. So 6 times 4 sort 3 will give you what? Will give you 24 sort of 3. So we'll write 24 sort of 3. Remember, we multiply 6 times sort of 3. This 6 here will be applicable to 4, and then we just attach our sort of 3. So 6 times 4 will give you 24. So 24 sort of 3 divided by, put our division sign, carry out the same process, 4 sort of 3 times 4 sort of 3. Now this 4 here will multiply 4 to give me what? 16. And this sort of 3 will multiply sort of 3 to give me 3. So I have 16 times 3. Now at this point, I will just bring out what I have here, which is 24 sort of 3 divided by 16 times 3 will give me 48. I have 48. Now, of course, 24 can divide 48. So there are two things that are common here that something can divide, which is 24 and 48. So if 24 divide itself, we have 1. And if 24 divide 48, we have 2. Therefore, our final answer is what? Is we are left with 2 at the denominator part, and we are left with sort of 3 at the numerator part. So we can have sort of 3 over 2 as our final answer. So that means in all of these problems, our answer is what? Sort 3 all over 2. I hope you followed up. I hope you understand everything that I just taught you. So this is basically how to apply this knowledge in solving trigonometric related problems that involve special angles. Okay, I will solve one more question, and maybe after that I will give you some works to do yourself to really rate whether you understand what we did or not. Okay, let's consider this second problem here. So this is another problem that involves a trigonometrical problem, a problem that involves a special angle. So when you look at this angle here is angle 45, and angle 45 degrees is a special angle. So right here we are given a right angle triangle, and we are asked to find this particular unknown side, which is the hypotenuse side, given that this opposite side is 4, and here is what? And here is angle 45. So we can actually apply the knowledge of this special angle to be able to solve this. Of course, what we are going to first of all consider is the the particular function that we are going to apply here, trigonometric function we are going to consider. Looking at this as the base angle, and since this is facing here, this is the opposite side. So we are comparing the given side and the unknown side. So the given side is 4. This facing here makes here opposite. So opposite all over the hypotenuse side. So the unknown side is what? Is the hypotenuse. So opposite over hypotenuse according to the trigonometric function is what? Is sine. Because sine gives rise to what? The sine theta is equal to what? Opposite all over hypotenuse. So that is how we will be applying this. So we have sine theta is equal to what? Opposite all over hypotenuse. But the theta here we are considering, that is the angle we are considering, is 45 degrees. So we can substitute here to have that sine 45 degrees is equal to what? Opposite. What is our opposite here? 4. And what is our hypotenuse here? X. So that is simply what we need to do. But first of all, we have a problem here, which is sine 45. So sine 45 is going to recall you back to what? To these functions that we've already derived. So we know that sine 45 degrees is what? So 2 over 2. So what we just simply need to do is just to impute this value, substitute for sine 45, because we know that sine 45 is so 2 over 2. That is the importance of this derivation. Do we need calculator? No. Ordinarily, you go and start looking for your calculator just to calculate sine 45. But when you already know this your derivation, you know that sine 45 is simply what? So 2 divided by 2. Now you equate it to this value, which is what? 4 over x. 4 over x. So at this point, what do? We can cross multiply. For us to be able to get the value of this x, we cross multiply. So by cross multiplying, we have x times sort of 2 will give me x sort 2 is equal to 2 times 4 will give me 8. So for me to get the value of x, what do? I will divide everything by what? By the coefficient of x, which is what? Sort of 2. I'll divide here by sort of 2. So y sort of 2 cancels sort of 2 here. We'll have that x is equal to 8 all over sort of 2. This is very simple, since I've taught you that whenever you have an irrational number as denominator, what you do is for you to rationalize, by using the value of the denominator to multiply both the numerator and the denominator. So that's what we are going to do for us to eliminate this surd here. So that is what we are applying here. We'll have 8 divided by sort of 2 times sort of 2 over sort of 2. So at this point, we'll be able to get our value. We'll have that x now is equal to 8 times sort of 2 will give me 8 sort of 2 divided by sort of 2 times sort of 2 will give me square root of 4, which square root of 4 will give me 2. So sort of 2 times sort of 2 will still give me 2. So that is it. So at this point, you know that these 2 here can cancel 8. True or false? True. So if 2 cancel itself, 1, 2 divide 8, we'll have 4. So our final answer will become what? We are left with 4 sort of 2. So our final answer will become 4 sort of 2. And that's all. So this is just it. You see that with this knowledge now, it's very, very easy for us to just solve as much questions as we can. Any question that involves special angle is now very, very simple for us to just apply it without stress, because we already have the basic knowledge we need. Okay, so this is just all about the problems involving special angles. We can have as many problems as we can, but once you know this particular once you have this particular knowledge, it's very, very easy for you to really apply. So I'm just going to give you just a problem for you to just help me and solve. Okay, now what if we have you're going to help me do this one. So what if we have here as angle 60 degrees and we'll have here as x, and you are asked to find the value of the hypotenuse side. So how do you solve this? Using the knowledge of the special angle to get the value of x. So solve that and leave your answer down in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed today's class. Have a nice day.